Live. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Blake Ruffino. This is Are You Serious Sports. We hope that you are making it a good one. We know that we are as well. Boy, do we have a big show. I mean, a lot happened over this last weekend. You know that your boy is going to tee off on Dickie V for his absolutely ridiculous comments about Will Wade. Now, I will get on Will Wade about something, not even about the game. But I will say something. But Dickie V, you're up to the plate, sir, because your old ass just trashed an LSU coach, and it's about time you paid the penance for it. Also, Drew Brees officially retires. We were all expecting it, right? But he does officially retire. What are my thoughts? What are your thoughts? We'll bring the comments up and hashtag #AskBlake as always. So you can bring your comments. What's your biggest Drew Brees memory? We will talk about that. I'll tell you mine. LSU baseball completes the sweep. Look, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday morning, I told you that LSU should and could complete this sweep. They win the three games in dramatic fashion this weekend. Made my blood pressure just go sky high. Took 25 years off my life, but that's being an LSU fan. LSU basketball is Tourney bound. We are doing a AYS bracket. I will share the link. We're going to be doing a $25 gift card giveaway to whoever wins our bracket. So I will give $50. Did I say 25? $50 gift card to whoever wins our bracket. We will share the link. You got to do in there. But there are a couple ways to win. You do have to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you have to obviously fill out a bracket. And NFL free agency is underway as it is completely taking off. We'll touch on that as well. But before we get started, guys, we want to thank our good partners over at Believe Podcasts and our good partners over at eBay for all of our audio. If you're listening to us on the podcast, don't forget to rate and subscribe there. Dylan Landry on Facebook Live says, let's go. Chris Barnhill says, let's go. Shannon Williams says, let's go. What a game for basketball team and what a sweep for the baseball team. Yeah, it was absolutely amazing. We will touch on that as well. Craig Schilling, our good friend, Mr. Craig Schilling, says, and we are live. Yeah, that's kind of becoming our slogan, I think, outside of Rudy Poo. Our financial advisor, Mr. Michael Bazile. Let me pull this up right quick. Hold on. Let me pull this up. Boom, shakalaka. Our financial advisor, Mr. Michael Bazile, 504-343-1576. 504-343-1576. Is it sad that I know my financial advisor's phone number by heart? That's sad. Or maybe not, because I got financial planning. Alex King on YouTube says, you the man. I appreciate that. Tim Gray says, pay some bills and let's get this show started. So we will do that. We will do that. And none better than our good friends over at GM Varnado & Sons. GM Varnado & Sons has faithfully been serving your Denham Springs and Baton Rouge area for over 62 years. With their highly trained technicians, there's absolutely nothing that they can't do. RV repair, big rig overhauls, motorhome chassis, truck repairs, routine maintenance, tire rotations, tire sales. No job is too big or too small over at GM. Give them a call today at 225-664-9992. That's 225-664-9992. And tell them your good friend, Mr. Blake Ruffino at AYS, sent you on by. And our good friend, Mr. Richie Roche over at Roche's Lawn and Landscape, 225-937-7220. That's 225-937-7220. And tell them your friend, Mr. Blake Ruffino, sent you on by, because if you want the best looking yard in your neighborhood, he's going to deliver that for you. Again, that's 225-937-7220. Tell them your friend sent you on by. Okay. Let's do this first. Before I tee off on Dickie V. And before I tee off on Dickie V and everybody on Facebook Live and everybody on YouTube shares it to all their social media accounts, shares our show and our stream tonight. Before we do that, I do have to talk about Drew Brees. Look, guys, in my God's honest opinion, Drew Brees has been the quarterback from the New Orleans Saints since I was 15 years old. I'm 30 now. The simple fact that Drew Brees knew was so attentive of the details, and pays so much of attention to the details, that the man officially retired 15 years after he came to New Orleans. And in my personal opinion, this is what I was going to say, but I think that Drew Brees is the biggest sports figure that Louisiana's ever seen. I know that we can make debates, and I'm open for the debate, right? Like, I'm not sitting here and saying that it's just, You can't debate it whatsoever. Pistol Pete Maravich, Shaq, Joe Burrow. I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm just going to stop and just not listen to anybody's debate. However, Drew Brees transcended New Orleans. Drew Brees transcended Louisiana. When we saw Drew Brees play for the first time in New Orleans, at least for me, I always thought to myself, I was like, oh, so that's what being an elite quarterback is supposed to look like. Everybody knows that he won a Super Bowl against the Indianapolis Colts, against Peyton Manning, who's a Louisiana kid. Drew Brees, look, we all know what happened last year for LSU after Joe Burrow left. It's not always easy when people and first ballot Hall of Famers, regardless how old they are, leave your franchise. If you don't believe me, ask Bill Belichick and then go look at what Bill Belichick is doing in free agency. Literally signing everybody because Tom Brady goes to Tampa Bay and wins a Super Bowl. Bet you if you ask any, like legitimately any Patriots fan, they will tell you that. So we were spoiled. Every Louisiana fan was spoiled. And Drew Brees, thank you for everything that you've done for the state of Louisiana. Man, I grew up with Drew Brees, bro. I know all of you did too. Majority of people that watch Are You Serious Sports are between the ages of 30, 35, and 40. You grew up with Drew Brees. So, I mean, Drew Brees is always going to have a sweet spot in my heart. So, but to the GOAT, cheers, my friend. We're not drinking no whiskey tonight. We got to stay clean, man. We got to drink some water. No alcohol for Mr. Ruffino during the week as Lent is still in session. Adam Contreras, what's up, Adam? He says, when will Caldwell get fired? It's a long time. Which Caldwell are you talking about? There's technically two that should be fired. Lonnie Young says, inbound plays and free throws cost us the SEC title. Let's stop right there. And I want to go to this one because Darren on Facebook Live says Dick Vitale equals Rudy Poo. Darren, I completely agree with you. The simple fact that man ran out there, and you know why Dickie V ran out there, right? Like this isn't something that's just out of the ordinary or why did Dickie V say that about Will Wade? We know why he said it. He's been on Will Wade from its infancy since the FBI wiretap and the federal investigation. But what's some things that Dickie V has not gotten on? And I'm going to leave Darren's comment up here. What are some things that Dickie has not got on? The simple fact, and look, I love Zion, and Zion's with the Pelicans. He's in New Orleans. But number one, Zion had a house paid for when he went to Duke. He had a house paid for. And also, and I was listening to Dick's stupid ass last night, when they were doing the bracketology, and he's talking about Rick Pitino. You literally have Rick Pitino, the former coach of Louisville, now at Iona Trailer. I know that the school's called Iona, but I figured that since it's kind of cool, I'm going to call it Iona Trailer. He's coaching at Iona. He got fired from Louisville because he had strippers and escorts in a dorm room. So he gets fired, and all of a sudden it's okay for him to come back. But you still have an investigation out on Will Wade and LSU. And you want to trash that man and openly, negatively recruit against LSU. Oh, by the way, ESPN, you're about to do a football deal. You remember that football deal? You're trying to buy it from CBS, and technically, you got Alabama and LSU right there in the mix as the top teams in the SEC. You have LSU in the SEC championship game. Always a competitor in football, and quite honestly, always great in baseball. But yet you let that old man run out there and trash a coach. Negative recruit this. Now, between me, you, and sweet baby Jesus, let's talk about this too. Will Wade brought this on himself too. Will Wade also brought this on LSU. So let's not act like Will Wade is completely innocent. The wiretap is out there. Now, can they prove what happened with Javonte Smart? We have no idea. But that's the point though, right? So let's not act like for 1 second and 1 iota that Will Wade has no penance in all this, that Will Wade has no issues in all of this, because he does. Will Wade has issues in bringing all of this bad light and bad energy and investigation into LSU. So let's not completely act like he's innocent now. But when any man is going to negatively recruit against a school that I root for dearly and that we talk about the most on this show, and quite honestly, I've taken serious flack from people saying that I can't just do a straight LSU podcast, which they can also negatively recruit this too, if you know what I'm saying. Remember the Alabama kid who grabbed his junk during the game? Of course he did. That's what I'm saying. But just come on, man. It's not even. It's at some point it's laughable, right? Like at some point it's kind of like funny that him and. A lot of people, and I see Call the Cat's comment here on YouTube. It says disappointed in Carl Ravitch too. I mean, look, I am too. But I just think that he doing this job and doing the podcast, and we have guests, and a lot of times I don't agree with them. Sometimes you don't want to completely throw them under the bus. So for that fact, I understand that. But to continue to go on, it's just absolutely asinine, man. At what point does LSU get involved in any of this? At what point does the SEC say, listen, we're about to do a deal with you, ESPN. We're about to do a huge football deal, and you have a guy out there running and talking absolute dog shit about one of the biggest universities in our conference. Now, SEC is not going to do anything, and the SEC is so chicken poo-poo that they're not going to do anything because they want the money from ESPN. They want the money from Disney. So they don't care what happens with Will Wade. But then all of this goes on. And then Rick Pitino at I Own a Trailer, who literally paid hookers they fired Hugh Freeze. Hugh Freeze can't come back to the SEC, but everybody is kind of okay. They want Rick Pitino to coach in Indiana now. Y'all know that, right? Like Indiana is really thinking about hiring Rick Pitino, and all Will Wade legitimately did, or what people are alleging him of doing, is paying Javonte Smart, which is not illegal to pay a kid money. Blah, 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 blah. Adam Couture says the women's basketball team coach that used to be on the map. Maybe. I mean, what's Kramer Robinson's mom? Guys, help me out. The woman over at Baylor. God, why is her name slipping my mind? I really wish they'd go get her. Bring her on home. As DC Youngfly would say, bring that ass here, girl. Alex Keene says, and Texas boy Drew Brees has shown so much love and dedication to our state, even when not a noon loved Louisiana. I mean, look, Drew Brees legitimately gave $7.5 million, literally put his money where his mouth is during COVID-19. I mean, he's done a lot for the state, man, and that's the bottom line. That's just the cold, hard facts. Cedric Ross says, hello, Blake Ruffino. What's up, Cedric? Hope you're doing good tonight, my man. Cedric says they all doing it. Bama does it all the time. Yeah, they do it all the time. And look, it's taking everything out of me not to completely rip Nate Oates, the head coach for Bama. This is why people get pissed off at Bama. It's not the fact that LSU lost. Look, LSU lost that game. Somebody mentioned it earlier. Rebounds. Trendon Watford did go off. I think that LSU could make a run here. I'm not completely throwing LSU out the map here. I think that they could beat Michigan. Like, I legitimately think that LSU could beat Michigan. And in one of my brackets on the AYS bracketology that all of you need to join in, I actually do have LSU winning one because I have to pick LSU to win one, even though I might not believe it all the time. I actually have them in there, right? So I think that they can go on a run, but they lost that game. But it was competitive. It was damn near competitive. Trendon Watford went completely off, and I think that they're really talented. I wish Cam Thomas would have had the ball in that last possession, and I quite honestly wish that Cam Thomas would have had the ball down the stretch. So I'm sorry, guys. I'm getting a text message. I got a Saints text message. I was seeing if it was about free agency because you know how Mickey Loomis likes to douche, isn't it? But anyway, Mark Lake Jr. says, bottom line, don't be a dick. Yeah, completely. It's just there it is. Adam says it. Kim Mulkey, thank you. Her name was slipping my mind. I mean, she's right here from Tickfall, from Hammond. I would bring her in. Danny Krantz, what's up, Danny? He says Dickie V needs to just retire. Ain't nobody got time for that. And you know what the crazy thing about all this? And look, I've had my fair share of misses, and you know that we started AYS as a reporting network. We reported stuff. That's how we got started, right? But I've missed stuff, but none more than Dickie V. Like seriously, none more than Dickie V. It 100% is the just craziest thing I've ever seen. I just don't understand what his beef is with Will Wade. Now, I will tell you this, and look, people have told me to shut up about this. That's not true, but I still believe it, and I believe my sources when they said this. Remember a couple of months ago, even before the season, we were talking about Dickie V was doing this behind the back and doing this for Dale Brown. And in the middle, the damn near middle of the game, he says, name the court, name LSU's court after Dale Brown. He legitimately said that. Dick, they're not going to do it. You can't be a coach and leave here with LSU under investigation and have allegations and actually get scholarships suspended and think they're going to name a court after a man, no matter what he did. You got your own people in Baton Rouge working behind Will Wade's back now. You want to know what's really going on? Drew Meyercheck. What's up, Drew? He says, Kim Mulkey. Yeah. I want him to go get Kim Mulkey. Shoot. Bring that Louisiana girl in here. Scott on Facebook Live says, from Dragos and Metairie, 15 years ago, Drew Brees dined at the Metairie Dragos a night before he signed with the Saints. What an honor it was for him to return today to finish off his career with a single best bite of food in New Orleans. Congratulations, Drew. We will miss you. Yeah, Brandon Hollingsworth, a guy that comments on our show, literally said that a month ago. He said that he was going to be doing his retire. He called his shot, man. He said he was going to do it the day that he had signed 15 years ago and that it was going to be at Drago. So I got to give a shout out to my guy, Brandon Hollingsworth. He called it, man. He called it. Craig Schilling says, wait, what? Kim Mulkey is Kramer's mom? I know you know that. But yes. Mark Lake Jr., what's up, Mark? He says, Dick loves the Blue Bloods, hates when another school rises up to their level, tries to push them down, doesn't want everybody playing by the same rules. That evens the field. Yeah, and look, every single time, what's crazy about all this, every single time Musa Sisse, the 5-star center, top 5 player in the country, was about to commit and was saying he was about to commit, Dickie V would go on Twitter and say the craziest shit about LSU allegations. And no one can convince me that kid didn't like see that and know what was going on, and that other schools didn't negatively recruit against LSU. Just unreal, man. A little bit about the game. Look, I thought Trendon Watford had obviously his best game as an LSU Tiger. I don't really know what to really take of the game. I mean, they came out hot. It was a slugfest. Alabama is a really good team, y'all. There were some defensive things down the stretch that really made me scratch my head. Some of the inbounds passes in the second half. It's not even – and look, I'm not the biggest basketball savant. You guys know baseball and football are my two things. But I know when I'm looking at effort and lack of. And a couple of the inbounds plays, LSU just – It was pathetic, but you got to give it to them, man. They never backed down. They never gave up, and they came out just legitimately firing. I thought I had the LSU basketball. That's what I'm trying to look up, the LSU basketball stat line. I always have it in front of me. But, yeah, and look, Trendon Watford, 39 minutes, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, 30 points. Look, Andre Hyatt, everybody's poo-pooing on Andre Hyatt, but listen, that's not on Hyatt. Watford shot a 3 and airballed it, and the kid got a rebound and tried to get you a bucket. What's he supposed to do? Go up with it. Remember when everybody clowned J.R. Smith for getting a rebound in game 1 of the finals against the Golden State Warriors when nobody thought that LeBron could beat them even in a game, and he didn't go up? He didn't go up after the rebound. I mean, let the kid get the rebound and go up for it. He missed the shot. At least he got the rebound. Another big thing, too, that we always talk about here is Darius Days having 2 points. Darius Days has got to get in double digits, y'all. 2 points, 12 rebounds, 1 assist. Just wasn't effective. And really and truthfully, Cam Thomas just down the stretch was not that great. He was not Cam Thomas. It kind of felt like he kind of puckered up a little bit. He wasn't shooting. He was just passing the ball and was completely not Cam Thomas. Now, it felt like Cam Thomas was just saying, give the ball to Tremont Watford and get out of the way, which is fine. But you had big shots by Javonte Smart. Remember all the threes. There was 3 straight threes that you had to have the Javonte Smart hit. I think there was a point there where Javonte went like 3 of 3 in critical situations that Alabama could have blown the game wide open. That's why I think that makes this LSU team very dangerous in the tournament, especially with Michigan. And look, you got St. Bonaventure. We can't look past them, but this makes the LSU basketball team very deadly when it comes to maybe they can get to a Sweet 16. Maybe they can top a Michigan. Let's see. Blake Schilling says Red Gilbert was trying to fix his grades and come back. Source was poo-poo. I'm sure y'all saw. Yeah, I don't know what the kid's going to do. I think he might have to go JUCO. I don't think the LSU is going to take him back. And at this point, why would they? I don't see Eric Gilbert coming back. And nor have I heard that he is coming back. I know they were entertaining it in the beginning. They're not doing that now. Adam Contreras says Scott Woodward said he was going to make every team national contenders. It's time to show us. Yeah, I mean, look, everybody, and we can kind of transition and talk a little baseball here too. But you know what's funny is everybody's talking down about Paul Maneri, and look, their bullpen has been horrendous. Okay, let's just start with baseball very quickly. I mean, you won a national title in 2013 with football. Basketball's back in the tournament for the first time. And look, they would have been in the tournament a year ago, last year. Look, they've been in the tournament more in this stretch than any coach that was at LSU. I mean, other than John Brady. I get what you're saying. And look, that's fluff. That was fluff from the beginning. But LSU baseball's on a track. I do not believe that LSU baseball is the 4th team in the SEC West. I do not believe that. You lead the team, you lead the nation in home runs, but LSU's is going to be just as good as their bullpen will allow them. They gave up 5 runs on Saturday for UTSA to tie the game. They gave up 5 runs in the 9th inning Sunday to tie the game, had to go into extra innings. So I get the fact that everybody's talking about you can't count this LSU baseball team out. You're right. You can't. And I get the sentiment that everybody on Twitter is talking about, that this team has a lot of fight in them. But you have to be seriously concerned about LSU baseball on the back end. It's funny because the concern for LSU baseball has always been just hitting the ball and hitting the ball consistently. They're doing that. And now the bullpen is struggling. Absolutely struggling. Devin Fontenot has missed. Kid can't find the strike zone. Paul Maneri's running Aaron George out there. Why? I have no idea. So we'll see. But yeah, I get what you're saying. But look, LSU's been competitive in a lot of sports. A lot of sports. Blake Schilling says Chris Barnhill. I don't think so either. Yeah, about Eric Gilbert. Eric Gilbert's not coming back. If he does, it's going to take an act of God. It's going to take his mom coming down here and his family coming down here and really, really, really convincing Orgeron to take him back. And quite honestly, guys, why would you? He's a talented kid, but do you want that baggage, man? I mean, you legitimately have to ask. And look, he's got a lot of issues he needs to work out. Maybe he does need to go to a lower level, maybe a JUCO, work some of those things out. The spotlight's not on him, and then come back. That would be the advice I would give him right now. Alex King says, let's put Dick Vitale and Booger McFarland in an MMA cage battle. I'll take the money line on Booger. Well, of course you will. Booger's a former NFL athlete, defensive lineman. But, again, what's funny is all this stuff that's going on, and Dick just doesn't rip the Dukes. He doesn't rip the North Carolinas. North Carolina legitimately made bogus classes and bogus, I guess you could call them progress reports during the season so that guys were eligible to play. They got caught literally making up grades and academics for basketball players at North Carolina. Are you going to tell me, are you seriously going to tell me that it is worse for Will Wade to pay Javonte Smart or whoever to come to LSU then it's not as much as egregious as a university literally making up bogus classes for them to be eligible during the season? That's what we're legitimately trying to talk about here. People put this dirty perception on giving an athlete money to come to your school. What is so nasty and dirty about it? Yeah, the people that are elite, the people that don't win natties, they think it's dirty. You're giving a kid to come to you, money to come to your university. That's what name, image, and likeness is going to be about. But no, making up bogus classes at UNC has, that's not as worse as paying kids. These old, you got the FBI wiretap. FBI wiretap saying what? That they paid a kid's family for him to come here? Get the frick out of here, man. Brandon Reese says, you don't think Scott Woolward moves on from Will Wade after the season will he? I don't think he can. It's going to take Will Wade. It's going to take allegations, and it's going to take some serious stuff for him to let. What you going to get rid of Will Wade for? I mean, look, you guys know how critical I've been of Will Wade because I think that he has not fairly been criticized by people in our media. People defending him left and right. But what are you going to fire him for? Getting to the tournament? What if he gets to the Sweet 16? What are you going to fire him for? I mean, guys, if we're going to be quite honest, and I don't even like saying this makes me feel dirty when I say it, but he's had more success at LSU since really anybody, and quite honestly has more wins in the SEC since he's been here than anybody. He legitimately is the winningest SEC coach since he's been here. So, I mean, I don't know. Let me get back to this. If Scott Woolward fires Will Wade, it's because he wants to make a hire, and like all ADs, they get that itch and they want their guy in here. It won't be off of merit. And look, Will Wade will go somewhere else and have success. But no, I don't. Barrett Granger says they throw up some ugly shots. Yeah, they do. I mean, that one Javonte Smart threw out was just ridiculous. The 45 footer, legitimately almost from half court. Adam Contreras says there's no home court advantage with all the games being in Indy. Yeah, there isn't. And look, legitimately, I do believe, and look, watch I say this, and LSU is going to lose to St. Bonaventure, or however in the hell you say it. You guys know I'm horrible with words. They might lose that game. I mean, look, that team's actually pretty good. We can't look past them. But with the players missing at Michigan and not knowing if those guys are going to be back, I think LSU, if they get past St. Bonaventure, that they can beat Michigan. And look, I'm going to say this too, because this is going to be a hot take, and this is going to be something that people don't agree with me here, but please just stay along with me. A lot of people said it was egregious that LSU got a 8 seed. I'm not really with you there. I'm not really with you. Could LSU have gotten to a 6 seed if they would have won the SEC championship? Yes, but name the really good wins for LSU this season. Tennessee, Arkansas. I'm right there with you. I get it. Great wins. Great top 25 wins. But you had some bad losses in there too. Guys, we lost to a bad Georgia team almost by 17 points? LSU's projection and their RPI, or not RPI, what do you want to call it? The net was, what were there, 28, 29, 30, something up in there, which constitutes an 8 seed. Guys, you got to go look and see. And I get Arkansas's at 3. I get Florida's at 7. Like, I get all of that. But Florida technically did beat LSU, and LSU just went on a little bit of a run. Do I think that LSU should have been a 7 seed? Absolutely. I'm not saying that. I think they should have been a 7 seed. I think they could have been as top as a 6 seed. You heard me if you listened to us Saturday morning. I said that. But to say that LSU, it's just absolutely egregious. I can't believe LSU got an 8 seed. Look, man. Oh, they're sticking it to Will Wade. Maybe they are, and probably they are. I will take that they're sticking it to Will Wade a little bit there in LSU. I'm fine with that. But to say it's absolutely egregious, I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know. And look, Will Wade said it the best when he said that these brackets were done Friday. And then, look, he's right. But to say it's absolutely egregious is just, to me, okay, you're talking about a seeding. You're talking about a seed. Let's see. Adam Contreras says, if baseball doesn't have a winning record, what happens? Oh, well, he'll get fired. But they're going to have a winning record, Adam. I mean, at least in my opinion, unless they implode. I mean, look, a lot of people want Paul out of here. I've been on the fence and saying let it continue. Right, guys, you lead the nation in home runs. This bullpen can get worked out. Mark says, who will you get as a new head coach of baseball? Look, LSU can pay a guy like a Tim Corbin. Vandy is not going to pay a Tim Corbin if they fire Paul Mainieri. They're not going to fire Paul Mainieri. LSU's not going to finish fourth in the SEC West. Guys, you realize that Arkansas, Ole Miss, and Florida lost Sunday? This shit happens, man. This is baseball. We got to stop thinking of baseball like football and basketball. This is baseball. Literally the top 4 teams, I'm not exaggerating, legitimately, the top 4 teams lost on Sunday. LSU got to sweep. Now they got to fix the bullpen. Stephen Frey says Alan Dunn has to figure out the bullpen, period. I agree with you, Stephen. I mean, I know we just said something egregious. Now that has been egregious. Their bullpen gave up 10 runs in 2 outings. They gave up 10 runs in a combined, they'd be combined 4 innings. 10 runs in a combined 4 innings. If it's not for Jordan Thompson, if it's not for Dylan Cruz, if it's not for Gavin Dugas, you might have lost back-to-back series to teams that you don't have any business losing to. But this team can hit with anybody. Brian Viator says, congratulations, Drew. Thanks for all the memories. We will miss you. Enjoy yourself. You deserve it. See you in Canton in 2026. Yeah, he's the first ballot Hall of Famer. And look, we'll see him before then. He went on with the NBC morning show and said that he accepted and he'll be in the booth with NBC this upcoming football season. We're going to see Drew a lot. David says Ohio State. David Wirtz on YouTube says Ohio State in the late 70s had football players enrolled in underwater basket weaving. I played Southeastern. I took underwater basket weaving too, but also had to take real courses. All right, let's do this very quickly, guys. We got to pay some bills around this thing. Look, and the guy that's really going to save you money is my good friend Mr. John Patton over at Area Home Lending. Why is that not going? I have no idea. Why? My overlays aren't working. Interesting. Well, guys, hold on. Just bear with me. You know what? We'll just do this. We won't do the overlays. I'll have to get that fixed. But Mr. John Patton over at Area Home Lending, 225-663-2500. That's 225-663-2500. Guys, if you're thinking about buying a new home, saving money on the mortgage that you have now, or even doing that cash out refi, the timing has never been better. Get in touch with Mr. John Patton from Area Home Lending today. And if you mention the show, John will send his team out for a free appraisal. Again, that's 225-663-2500. See, are you guys impressed? I'm just reading this off the top of my head. That's what happens when you read these all the time. And our good friends over at your home team, team.kw.com. That's team.kw.com. 985-467-7355. 985-467-7355. That's 985-467-7355. And tell them your friend Blake Ruffino at AYS sent you on by. We had a little bit of a delay there on our end. Paul Brown says LSU got shafted with an 8 seed. We deserved at least a 7, if not a 6. You give Tennessee a better seed, and we with them, better net rating than Florida and Tennessee. I get what you're saying, and I get that LSU beat Tennessee, but you know what Tennessee didn't do is Tennessee didn't lose the games they weren't really supposed to outside the one from LSU. I get what you're saying with Florida. I legitimately get what you're saying with Florida, but again, Florida beat LSU in the regular season. So if we're talking about what happened in the tournament, I understand and I agree with Will when he talks about the bracket was already made up Friday. I'm with you there. I get what you're saying. Shafted how, man? You lost 8 games, or what was it? You lost to a bad St. Louis team to start the season. You lost 7 games in conference. To teams that you have no business losing to. Hold on. Let's look at this. Let me see. Hold on. I'm trying to look. Texas Tech. You should have beat Texas Tech. That was another big win that you could have gotten out of conference. You got blown out by Alabama twice. You lost to Georgia 91-78. A bad Georgia team. You did see, and here's the thing. I think this is where you have the argument. It's not Tennessee and it's not Florida. I agree with you here, Paul. I think this is where you have an argument. Arkansas is a 3 seed and you split with them. Actually, no, you actually won that. You split in the regular season and you beat them in the SEC tournament. So you beat a 3 seed 2 times out of 3. That's what I think would be more egregious than anything. If LSU got shafted, I don't care about the Tennessee, Florida, 6, 7, 8, that's not my part. You have an Arkansas team at 3 and you beat them twice. That's where I think that LSU got shafted. Maybe you agree with me there, maybe you don't. But that was the more egregious thing. I thought Arkansas would be a 5 or 6 seed if we're being honest. Lonnie Young says LA Tech beat Arkansas and hope Tech beats Ole Miss tomorrow night. And look, here's the crazy thing about baseball. Arkansas had to go into extra innings to beat Tech on Friday. And then that kid from Arkansas hit a ball that hasn't even landed yet. He hit a ball where Thanos went at the end of Infinity War in the beginning of Endgame, if you guys watch DC's. Not DC, what's that called? Marvel. Adam Contreras says, I'm a Paul guy. Look, I'm going to be a little honest. I'm kind of wishy-washy on Paul, but I don't think he's the best coach in the world. I certainly don't think he's the worst. Certainly don't. Marvin Mackey, what's up, Marvin? He says they better come with defense and transitional defense. Yeah, and look, another thing about LSU, their defense has gotten better. Their defense in the turn, and you know what? You know why their defense gotten better? Because they've been locked in. They've been focused. They have something in front of them. That's why I think LSU could be a deadly team, or they can fold. And I think they beat St. Bonaventure. I'm going to be honest. I think they beat St. Bonaventure, and I think that they beat Michigan, and I think they lose to like a Florida State. That's what I think. I don't think that LSU can make a run, win 4 or 5 games in this tournament. I just don't. Let's see. Bundy says SEC is dominating baseball. Yeah, legitimately. And look, even if LSU, here's the crazy thing about this. Even if LSU is 4th in the SEC West, 3rd in the SEC West, they're still a top 10 team. I guarantee it. That's what the crazy part about all this is. The SEC tournament is going to tell you everything you need to know about SEC baseball, which is why I love it so much. Man, I'm going to be honest, guys. I'll take days off to watch the SEC baseball tournament. I don't do that often. I don't take off work often. Really, ever. I took off one day, not this last year, but the year before. I took off like a day and just sat there and watched baseball all day. Travis says Arkansas was a walk-off in extra innings away from a losing series to LA Tech. Yeah, I mean, and that's just how it's going to be. And look, you got to get better. You got to get better in the bullpen. LSU gets more consistency in the bullpen, guys. You got something working here. Look, Vandy can't hit like LSU. Arkansas can't hit like LSU. I don't, like I was talking about with Drew Brees, sometimes you don't realize what you have until it's gone. You better be careful. All right, let's get to a couple more of these and we'll get on out of here. Wade McBride, what's up, Wade? He says Beck is the captain of that bullpen. When he comes back, it works itself out. I hope so. Regardless, let's see. Kyle says, regardless of seeding, you have to win. I hate MM. MM. Who's MM? Guys, what am I missing? Are you saying you hate Marvin Mackey? Just joking. Marvin says, who got the toughest side of the bracket? Michigan. In my opinion. Michigan's got to play some dogs. There could be a chance where Michigan's playing LSU, Florida State. I forget who would else be in that bracket. Alabama. Guys, that would – I was wondering what he was talking about. Paul says March Madness he meant. Oh, gotcha. Paul, and I know about your earlier comment. I agree with you. I'm not so worried about I'm not worried about the Tennessee and Florida situation, how that wrapped up. I'm more upset that they put Arkansas at a 3 seed and put LSU at a 7. Like that. That one got me. And Arkansas is going up against Colgate. It's a battle that Arkansas people have always been dealing with. You get my drift. Hope that one made you laugh. Paul also says, I agree with you on that, Blake. I guess if you're gonna win at all, you have to beat the best and to be the best anyway. Yeah, you do. It doesn't really matter, man. You're going to have to play a 1 seed anyway, more than likely. And quite honestly, guys, I wouldn't want to be on that side of the bracket with Baylor or Gonzaga. Like I kind of feel like in a sense that LSU kind of got placed, like regardless of seeding, they kind of got placed pretty damn well. You want to go against Baylor or Gonzaga in game 2? Hell no, y'all don't, because you out of there. You're out of there. And you sure as shit don't want to go up against Illinois, who I think might win it all. I got Illinois in the bracket winning it all. Dude, they're good, man. I really like Illinois, man. Those kids are long and they play with some energy, dude. They're fun to watch. They are legitimately really fun to watch. Watch them lose to a 16 seed. Ryan Thibodeau says, ask Blake, I'm not going to gripe about the 8th seed. It's not a strong bracket. Yeah, that side's not strong. But you have to beat St. Bonaventure, who I think is a really good team. Alex says, if LSU beats Michigan, how far do you think LSU will go in the dance? I honestly think it's funny because if this team gets any bit of confidence, like any bit of confidence, they can do a lot of things. But I would think that they would lose to like if Florida State gets in there, I think that they could lose to a Florida State. And then if Alabama gets there, they got Alabama again. God, wouldn't it just be so damn nice if LSU can face off with Alabama again and beat them in the tournament? God, that would be magical. Just so magical. Please, sweet baby Jesus, let that happen. Paul's right on this one too. He said Baylor got a tough bracket with all out of all the 4 seeds. You might be right. Look, it's a good bracket, man. That's why they call it March Madness. I'm really looking forward to it. All right, guys, we're gonna get out of here. We will be back tomorrow. I'm trying to lock down a former LSU football player for tomorrow as our guest. I'm trying to get that. We'll see. But until then, guys, we will see you tomorrow. Y'all have a good night. Kiss your babies, kiss your mamas, kiss your lovers. And we'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace out, guys.